Oh, Kissay! Welcome back to the LCO delivered by Menulog. It's time for a dare, but first, I got a little teddy for you guys. Are you comfy?
Oh.
I'm just going to give you that.
I can third wheel.
Even more comfortable now. I'm going to grab myself
I'm third wheeling now.
a double espresso.
All yours, mate.
Do you want one of these, Skimmy, or is it just me today?
Ah, either or, mate.
Either or?
Why not?
Nah, it's mine. Screw
okay,
you.
fair enough.
It's all for me. Not going to share my dare. Look, we do have a big game, though, coming up in just a second. Order and peace. Everyone wants to win it. Who's gonna?
I'm gonna cast like this. I've decided. This is comfy.
It's comfy couch gang.
This is comfy.
I think production's like, oh no, now the bear's not there under the dare fridge, but it gets to be in Rusty's hands.
What
and
if
now
I
it's
get a
getting used.
Yumi pillow? You've got the Annie Tibbers
might
pillow,
quit.
and we're just sitting here, just comfy hours on the couch.
I think Kitty wants to cast suddenly. That's crazy. How'd that happen?
Does she want to cast, or do you just want like a pillow?
No, he's quitting because of a Yumi pillow.
Anyway, look,
I don't need this.
Moving on.
I don't need
let's
this.
move on to the discussion. Let's talk order first. This team, they have a whole lot of winning to do if they want to hold this top 5 position. If they want to hold the upper bracket, we heard from Direwolves earlier that they're looking to take them down. So today would be a must-win if you want to stay top 3.
You know, Order has been looking a lot better and a lot more good after Biopanther dyed his hair into a cobalt blue.
Yeah.
So maybe transformation after transformation, they just evolve like Pokemons.
Okay.
And then
Oh, yeah.
they will become the final form where they are able to take on Chiefs in the grand final.
Hair buff, indeed. Now, look, let's talk about peace because things haven't been going right for them. But is today the day that all changes? We got Violet still down in that bot lane. We got Tian having a sometimes real good time, sometimes real bad time up top. But Rusty, what are we expecting from them today?
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what to expect from Peace, to be perfectly fair, right? Because we've seen glimmers of like a really good Peace. There was one game where even they came out on social media and said it's the best game we've had all split, and it was clean when they had their win. But then suddenly it feels like they regress back to a lot of common tendencies and mistakes that Peace just seem to be making. And it's that they really do default to trying to scale, but they also have been struggling to team fight. So what's the point of scaling if you can't win a 5v5? And it just feels like, for me, why can't they team fight? To me, speaks towards perhaps communication, perhaps setup, but like ultimately it just feels like they're not a team. They're 5 individual players, and even the quality of the individual players should be able to win more games than they've been getting.
Which is so crazy to me, right? Because I've spent such a long time over multiple rosters playing together, 3 years for some of these partnerships, that, yeah, is it just communication, which would seem bizarre? I think the decision-making at times has been a little bit questionable, right? Some of the fights they've taken around the Baron, where all expenses, getting this Baron, but then getting wiped as a result, or just some very questionable summoners with the flashes going out. You're thinking, where on earth is that going to? So you're really hoping that something can click, because they're far too talented to not make it to playoffs.
And in our previous interviews, we did hear from them that whoever has the character potential has the shots to call. But if they are behind, that means that they don't really have a clear shot caller, and that can go into Rusty's point that they seem a bit lost in these team fights, and I think is a huge problem that they need to solve ASAP.
Which I think is funny, because like, to be fair, like they've gone 0-3 against Mammoth, and they've been ahead by a lot in all 3 games. So like, even when ahead, it seems like they still find ways to stumble.
Well, the last time they did take on Order, they were kind of stumbling early to mid game, and then they had one really good team fight where Thean just tore him apart with that Shyvana, and it was also when we saw Bio deciding to play Olaf at top as well, which we haven't seen too much of. Played to win the lane, and then the game sort of just crumbled away.
He was like 5-0 at one point in that game, right, as the Olaf. You're grouping up to a team fight and thinking this is it, they're going to start absolutely crushing it around these dragon fights. But I believe there was like that split fight between Corporal and Puma, where they were playing the Seraphine and Senna, if memory serves me correctly. Split apart, they lacked the damage because they had a Lissandra carry, and then the Olaf is like saying, well, I'm not going to actually dive your carry, I'm going to try and peel the Shyvana, and from that point onwards, you feel, oh, they're in trouble.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of odd things, right? Now, let's focus on the mid lane, because Appy has been you know, slightly all over the place. I feel like he's one of the more consistent players on the team for the most part, But if he's not firing up, then that's sort of when Peace start to fizzle, right? And up against Kisei today, Kisei is just so explosive at the best of times, but then sometimes has been, out of position like we saw from him last week.
I mean, it's interesting they shared LeBlanc as their most picked champion as well, or one of their most picked champions as well, because they're one of the two mid laners that really have opted towards a super aggressive playstyle, but ultimately Appy, when he gets Swain, feels like he's a different player. His Lissandra is okay, but in reality, it does seem like with Swain, it's a different team. For Kisei on the other side, he can sit back and comfortably scale. His Azir was a monster, almost solo winning some team fights late game for Order, but his LeBlanc is like unbridledly aggressive and works so nicely with Gudo, which I think is the part that this graphic won't show, right? Is that like, while mid lane can be aggressive with LeBlancs, only one of them has a jungler that actively works with the LeBlanc to win and snowball the whole map, and that is Kisei with Gudo.
Yeah, now let's talk about Gudo. So he brought in, was it when we first saw that Poppy last week? I think he was one of the first people picking it. In the jungle, at least.
Played up against
And
Chiefs,
then
I remember, yeah.
didn't quite work as expected. It felt like there was like a couple of moments. I think, was he the one that bonked the Herald? Or was that a different game? I can't remember.
He did, yeah.
Okay, so it was that game. We thought, okay, cool, everyone's picking Poppy in the jungle, must be the new prio pick. And then it just, was kind of like a bait pick. Didn't end up working out.
I feel like Poppy is that bait pick, like Skimmy said in our earlier pre-show, where they keep picking Poppy as a solo frontline, where I think Poppy is much better as a follow-up engage, because if you are completely relying on this Poppy where she's not ahead and she's not tanky enough, she kind of just gets deleted instantly because she gets kited very easily and she's very one-dimensional in terms of these setups. So if teams are smart enough and can play around this champion, then I don't think Poppy is the best champion. I think you go for something else, and that's why I believe it's very bait.
Okay, well, let's go for something else in terms of stop talking about champions. We got people to talk to, people that are here and ready to wag some chins. Oh, that's you, Tien, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully if the rest of my team gets here, because I think there's been delays and there's been internet issues at the Peace House, so I'm actually not even sure if my team's gonna show up. So hopefully I even get to play League of Legends. I get to load into Summoner's Rift. That'd be great.
We are praying that Peace gets to the game safe and with good internet. Well, welcome to the interview, Tien. It's been a while since I've gotten to speak to you, so how have you been?
On the Rift, not so great. Maybe outside the Rift, probably better. Yeah, that's all I can say. I think we've been struggling a lot in past games. Not exactly sure why. Like, I feel like our roster on paper should just be doing way better. And, like, there's some like voodoo curse on us for sure. Like, I just can't win. Maybe my COG curse followed me from last year. But yeah, we're definitely struggling.
That's digging deep. Look, talk to me. I know like scrim results aren't good to sort of talk about a lot of the time, but we hear people saying it in interviews that, like PGG, their scrims are like insane. They always seem to win, but we didn't see that working for them at the start of the split. Your on stage, as you mentioned, look, hasn't been going super well for Peace at the moment, but in terms of your prac, in terms of like all the theory and stuff, how's that going for Peace at the moment? Are you happy with that?
So yeah, I think our team is very night and day. So sometimes, like even on stage, right? On stage, sometimes we look really good, sometimes we look really bad. Scrims are identical. It's like we don't actually have 5 players. I really feel like every single player on our team just has 2 identities. Like sometimes you load in with an inter called Tien Top. Sometimes he carries your game. Sometimes he goes 0-3 on R. Like I really don't know what to expect. Sometimes I have Cheon. Sometimes I have Violet. I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes you get Tantrum Tien in the top lane, which is completely fine because I think you've actually been. That's his old league name. I don't think you know, but all the OGs know. Tantrum Tien is a classic. But from what we've been seeing in that top lane meta, we have seen you picking a lot of the Gangplank, and we do see a lot of Gnar. And I believe the item is called Punk Chainsword.
Yep.
So please tell us the meta in this top lane and why this item is so popular.
I actually have no idea what the item's popular. I'm pretty sure we've just got some LS like brain control going on, where like someone needs to build healer reduction. The AD carry is like, no, I need my Infinity Edge and my Last Whisper. I don't want to build it. My jungler's on like Centerlink, so he can't really afford to buy items because yeah, he's just on welfare. My mid laner is just like, he's already building support items. He doesn't want to build it, and my support just doesn't have enough gold. So me as a top laner, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna build this item. I don't need to build items to win lane. I'll build items for the team.
A team
Yeah,
player.
I guess that's why people are
I
doing it.
think, look, if your career in League of Legends keeps going on a downward trend, I feel like your career as a comedian could keep going on an upward trend as well. So maybe look into that because you're absolutely killing it in these interviews. We'll let you go, Tian. It was good to chat and good luck in the game. Hopefully the boys turn up.
Best of luck, man.
Thank you. See ya.
That wasn't too harsh, right? That he was funny.
He
You
went
were
in.
giggling.
I was cracking up the
Yeah.
lingo he had. Get him on the couch with some yarns.
Beautiful.
My kind of man.
Looks- Maybe we can. But for the moment, Dare fan vote time. You guys at home, Twitch points, you got a lot of them. Surely put them on this game. Is it order?
Surely.
Is it peace? Which way's it going to go? I don't bloody know, but you do. Put your Twitch points where your mouth is and let us know. Prediction time. Let's see how we think this one's going to go. Do we have an order? Ooh, it's a full split. Full split skimmy.
Only 2 people in these predictions are smart.
Yeah, well, I'll start off because one of the smart people.
I didn't say which one.
I looked at the crystal ball. I conjured the crystal ball. I rubbed it and it spoke to me and said, they're far too good not to make playoffs. So I've invested in the belief. I've huffed the hopium. The hopium, it's all there, all in the crystal package to see them do
You
the
predicted
unthinkable.
for 5th place, not 2nd.
They're going to do what they did this time last year. They came in 5th spot. They ran the gauntlet. They made it to Worlds. Maybe
They're
they'll get into
repeating
playoffs.
the exact same thing from last year.
That's why they're
made
here,
Violet
right
go
there.
on a break. He came back. They barely made it into playoffs, which is what is happening right now.
true.
And then they made it to Worlds. So if we continue the law of peace,
We'll get
this
another one of
is-
those posters, right?
Yeah, we'll get
Now
another one.
Adoric's
of
going to
these.
come back and carry them.
True.
True. Surely he'll do that. I feel like that's for certain. Now, the other thing is, Thean did say in the interview he doesn't know which ADC is going to be there on the day that he's going to be either scrimming with or playing with as well. So it feels like there is that sort of instability even in their practice, which may be why we're seeing that reflect in these on-stage results, right? So I don't know. Is there any suggestions or like advice we could put out there? Because each team does things their own way, right? And you don't really want to intrude. But when you're not getting the wins on the board, when you're not showing results, is that when something's got to change? Because usually in like normal sports and stuff, that's when things have to change.
I mean, I feel like it's really important, first of all, to actually pin down the reason why. Because it's getting annoying to have an interview with Peace and their answer be, we don't know why we're losing. And you can't have that answer for 7 weeks straight.
Quickly, I do actually know the answer for the Kempunk Chainsaw. We found that one out. It was really good like value for money, right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
135% cost efficient. It's only a 2,800 gold item. You've derailed my main point so hard here to talk about the Kempunk, but
I did.
it is a good item. It also has very good stats, Mac, for what
Yep.
a top laner wants, which is health, ability, haste, and AD.
My brain does crazy things. My
I
brain
know.
also
Like
wants to
what?
hear from everyone other than you, from the fans. We've
Good.
got a couple of submissions. So let's see what your favorite arena food is before we jump on into the game.
Hot dog.
Deboosted animal hot dog.
Yeah,
Not
mate.
multiple,
Dog
just
hot.
a single
And
one.
hot dog. That's it.
So,
We've already had a lot
so
of
Kitty, tell me more about this rotisserie sausage.
sausage on a stick.
Sausage on it. It just keeps rolling, and then there's like a
True.
crispy layer outside, and then they literally
Oh, there's
just
a
put it-
crispy layer outside. Now I know
Okay,
what
it's
you're
not
talking
like
about.
fried, but it's like crispy. You know what I
Is
mean?
it a thin sausage or like
It's a very thin.
Is it a
it's like,
Frankfurt?
It's like
Or is it a sausage?
It's like, oh, roger that, mate. Gotcha.
That's good with the graphic on the screen. It's like,
I don't know what this
I wouldn't. It's like I don't want to put in lengths and
Oh, is it a 10
measurements.
cent
you
coin,
don't
a
have
dollar
to, you don't
coin, a
have to.
$2 coin? How are we looking, mate?
It's like a
Is it a skinny
$1
sausage?
coin, a $1 coin.
Okay.
and
Or is it
it's-
like one of the Fat Boy sausages?
It's a very skinny sausage.
Okay.
It's like the ones you get at the supermarket that are super, super basic.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they put in it. It might not even be me. I
no
might
one
just be
knows what they
getting
put in
scammed.
sausages anyway, Kitty. It's all just a
Sausages are
big
just
confusing
scams.
bundle of meat.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's actually just candy floss, isn't it?
It's certainly dangerous. Now, I believe we have one more that we can have a quick look at as well. Hot dog conversations on the LCO. It's the new bloody topic of the day.
Oh.
Olives could eat a jar of those suckers in an arena.
Big Bishop.
I think there's maybe a couple of things you could get in an arena that comes with an olive, but I never thought you could
Checkmate.
get olives. Although someone said HSP, so maybe there was some wires crossed here.
Feels like favorite arena food to get, and Bishop's answered for a favorite arena food to bring. It's like going to the
Yeah.
movies, you know what I mean? Like when you go to the movies, you could say
true.
I like popcorn, but you could also just in your handbag have a bunch of
Anything.
cheeky snacks.
Yeah,
you
you
can bring
don't
whatever you
tell
want.
anyone
Yeah.
about
I think
that.
that's what Bishop's gone for here.
Oh my
That's
god,
the
you sneak snacks
unspoken
into the theater?
agreement.
No way.
You don't?
Like, what's up? You don't what?
You don't sneak
But anyway, about
snacks
that
into the theater?
sausage.
Why don't you
Yeah, so back to the sausage.
The
right, Mac,
sausage.
that's enough out of you, mate. Kitty, carry on.
Yep. Basically, they just keep grilling it for a few hours, and then it doesn't even get burnt or anything. It's just like a thin layer of crisp outside, and then you put it on a stick and you bite it, and it's just
Because they
almost
rotate.
The perfect balance of
It's
the
like
equilibrium of
the
the heat
perfect balance.
distribution.
And you can't even taste like, it doesn't even feel like chunks of meat because it's so grinded out. It might not even be meat. Like I said, it might
I'm
just
going
be
deeper
some
and
paste.
deeper.
You know when like you ask pro players when someone does something cracked, it's like, I need your monitor size, your resolution, your sensitivity, you know, your distance from the monitor. I'm just going to ask for sausage dimensions from now on.
That could be.
Look, it's been 2
That's
years.
a little bit
It's been
suspect.
a
That could be
while.
dangerous.
I may or may not do that. Time will tell, huh? Let's move on. All right, back to the game. I don't know how far away we are, but at the same time, we got real serious. That got turned
Yeah,
up
mid the most
real
serious thing
quick.
I was ever going to say about Peace, I started talking about Chainsword. And
Yeah, so you want to continue your point about why Peace has been kind of messing up? Because
Why they can't use
they
the
have-
cop-out excuse,
yeah,
right? Like,
they
what,
can't
8
use the
weeks in?
cop-out excuse.
yeah, okay. Let me try and
Flip back.
bring it back. I think, right, that this far into a split, you shouldn't be able to have the excuse of I don't know if it's an issue that has existed since the very beginning of the split. That is my main point, and that at some stage the answer has to be find out why, not say we don't know, because then it's just unfixable with no ability to fix it, and then I have zero faith in Peace. That's the
I think
reality.
Another like example would be, you know, like Gravitas with the amount of swaps they did. A team that it did work for was Kanga. They went through multiple spot swaps throughout this split, and now look at them. They're just getting dubs left, right, and center.
My biggest concern, right, is when you do make that many swaps, is not only are you playing with the synergy that's already been acquired by the players, but their mental as well. Like, am I playing? Am I not? Do I know really what I'm meant to be practicing? Do we know how we're going to be looking to try and you know, execute a game plan up against a heavy favorite or a must-win game, which is what these games are, right? You're up against Order and then Chiefs. You've got the hardest week, arguably on paper, to close out patch 12-13. Then next week on a brand new patch, you're thinking maybe, hallelujah, the stars have aligned, the patch works for you. You get the jump on it nice and early and perhaps can stay ahead of the likes of Kanga and Mammoth who are hot on your heels.
Do you think that subs are good?
In what respect?
In like a, let's just say 10-man roster. Do you think a 10-man roster is good?
Well, there's a world where I say yes, but for the most part, no. Because stage games are like a world of experience, and
It's good.
I mean, I would say subs are good because there is that point in when the team is not doing so great, you get a mental reset, which is which is a huge reason why a lot of people just chuck in a random sub and then they throw them back out, have the main player take a few days
I
of
think
rest.
that's fair for the team. But like, imagine you're the player, right? And you've had a really bad week, and then you're subbed out. That
Exactly.
could be even worse.
I think that's devil's advocate, right? Is you play the fact of, do you want to take a risk in the way you play or the champion you draft, or to say, I'm drafting comfort regardless of what we do. Maybe it screws over the draft,
hey,
but I want to guarantee that we win.
hey,
Hey,
it's not time to talk about draft yet. We're going to keep talking about these teams. Let's have a look at the teams head-to-head in terms of their statistics. So have a quick gaze at this. This is what's going on. Their most recent matches. Look, Order, they actually haven't had the strongest lead up to this. They're actually on a loss streak at the moment. Kitty, what are you pointing at up there? You got up for this.
Yeah, I got up for this, and I was looking at this graphic for the first time with all of you guys, and my eyes are fixated on the negative 1,104 gold at 15 minutes.
It's actually
And
down
that
at
is
the very
very
bottom.
worrying.
I think bottom is Gravitas, then it's Mammoth, then it's Peace, which just feels really, really poor. I think maybe that's a big part of like their early season where they would just completely forget about laning phase, and it was all about 20-minute clutches where they just win superior late-game micro team fights. But it's a worrying trend that's kind of haunted them all split long. So you're thinking that's not where they should be, but
the other thing about not the team v team, but about the win rate statistics or goal difference at 15 is that Peace average win rate when ahead at 15 minutes is 30%.
Okay.
Which is like less than half the normal, right? Because when you're ahead, you win more. They don't.
I just remembered as well. So you saw up there, one of the recent matches for Peace was Kanga last week, and they lost that head-to-head. But off the back of that, if we're looking for Peace to make it into 5th, not only do they need to win the majority of these last 4 matches, but they also need to stay 1 win ahead, because head-to-head Kanga have it. I got good news, everyone. Champ Select is ready. Let's jump on into Game 3.
We have saved the Chaos segment. We are finally into playing the game known as League of Legends, and we got Order on the left-hand side ready to look to try and showcase what they can do to claim this head-to-head. They banned away to Talia, no first pick there. They've denied the GP, and a big emphasis, you'd have to say, on that Tien.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they don't want to give him some of his best champions. Also, note that you saw the hover there. There's a lot of good champions still available for Order. We'll have to wait and see what they choose to prioritize. Renata, Yuumi, Senna. Very odd that you would focus ban so hard towards Corporal, but I think what we saw last week was that his answer with those three gone was potentially just Nautilus if you don't have a Lulu champion locked in as your AD. So this does bring about the question, right? Like, is it going to be a Yuumi for Order? Is that predictable? What exactly do Order want to draft as a composition? Where Peace, you're seeing all of the rotations there in their first pick hovers. There's so many champions. Poppy's going to be where they end up.
Yeah, far too many options for them to go for. Order last week actually first picking the Poppy, but going to do a trend that we've seen elsewhere, even in the LCO, which is a first pick starter. So Peace then answer back straight away and lock in that Poppy themselves. We know that can be played by Lee, so we know that it also can be played by Tien if the matchup is good for them top side. So we'll wait to see where that goes. Well, Lenar basically confirms that's not going to be what we're looking at, but regardless, they've already got themselves a fair bit of engage.
Yeah, the blind Gnar for top lane. Gangplank has admittedly been banned away here as well, so it makes you wonder, will we ever see the Biopanther Aurelia Dream? It's unlikely. Swain's still up and available here as well, as is, I was going to say the LeBlanc with an aggressive jungler, but of course note that the Sylas would then have to be going top lane. I think that's now just confirmed to not be the case, and instead we see the Nawi respond with Gwen. You need a physical jungler.
Yep, the Gwen getting that slight change on this patch. Need to work now can just be casted for free as opposed to having to actually hit that champion. Bit of a nerf to the healing, given there's a soft cap as to how quickly you can cast, but still feels as strong as ever. No surprises there. Wukong going to come out as that third pick and give Gudo that real ability now to try and link up quite nicely with the Sylas and mid, guaranteed CC, and a lot of knock-up.
It's an insane change to Gwen, put simply, right? Because now you can throw needles and guarantee hits. It also is a ghost champion that I don't think is going to be too afraid of the Poppy. You can just run away at a faster pace, and Gnar is really the only concern then. Sivir going to be immediately locked here by Peace. We have seen the rise in priority of Sivir locally. We've seen it around the world a lot more, so it's good to see it being picked up more and more here.
The Draven ban as well, which is funny because that's literally what we saw as a response in that last game, and they're showing respect to what Puma can do. Lulu banned away as well now, so now we're going to have a clear focus surely towards denying any kind of enchantment, maybe a Karma as well.
Auto banning the Lulu though is definitely, chopping off one of their own hands here in terms of draft capabilities with 3 supports already gone. And if you go for something like the Nautilus, Sivir simply exists with a spell shield to make that difficult to work with. It just makes you really see how deep in a champion pool can Corporal go through his last 4 games with a Nautilus. Sivir can very easily weather that with the right support, of course, with it.
Next question then, what would they ideally look to try and pair with the Sivir to get it online as quickly as possible? They themselves banned away the Renata and the Yuumi. Up there
with Trist
with
Ali,
the Lulu.
if I was Order.
Are we still looking at Enchantment angles like the Karma, like you mentioned from last game, or are we just all about, hard aggression now?
Difficult to play the Alistar into a Poppy, but I would consider the Trist Alistar angle here for Order and just be aggressive early. Yeah, forward moving, all-in type of composition. Alternatively, Kai'Sa Nautilus, but I feel like that's a weaker lane.
Because Peace can't pick the Alistar, right, because of the Sylas, so they've kind of put themselves in a bit of a rut as to what can we lock in here that gives us power but doesn't give them too much power. This might be, if locked in, just a gentleman's agreement in the mid lane as to we're both going to be very mobile, steal away one another's ult, realm warp all across the map, and the Rise of just that. Rise is back.
And I wonder if Braum is a champion worth considering here. Lucian Nami obviously does still exist. We very rarely see it, but with the Sivir being a close-range champion, they can close that gap nicely. And again, it makes you wonder if Braum's going to be something looked at. However, I think with acknowledging that Lucian and Nami are there, acknowledging that your bottom lane has a Rise that can roam, has a Poppy that can move with Appy towards bot lane, you want something that helps to give them kill threat. That's where I think Braum / Nautilus / Rel, type champions come into conversation.
Do, and that is what's going to be locked in here as the 5th and final pick for them. Peace did just actually forget to ban in that last rotation there. They denied the Draven, and that was it. They've left up the Lucian Nami, and we saw just how devastating that was already in our match of the week. And Peace You would say they've got the tools to try and be aggressive, to try and be present on the map, to contest these major team fights. But I look once again towards the likes of Violet, given a champion, given the tools to say, farm up an absolute treat, get 40% of that gold, and become that 1v9 Civ late game.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We are going to be looking at the Sivir scaling. I'd like to see a game go the distance where Sivir gets a whole lot of items and can just 1v9 those team fights for sure. Would be fun to see. Of course, the last time we saw Sivir, it was a fairly straightforward victory here by Direwolves. Auto on the other side, though, aggressive bottom lane, very flexible mid laner, right? When you lock in a utility champion with an ult like Ryze, Sylas just takes that and becomes you anyway. A little bit more damage potentially to come out of the Sylas. And Wukong has been answered by Poppy more often than not, right? Poppy is picked because it is quite good in general, but it has very good matchups into Wukong and a lot of the meta junglers. So it does feel like access isn't the easiest from Order, but they have so much damage, right? They have so much potential to go crazy when it comes to these skirmishes. And their scaling team fight does just get better, it feels like. But close range, very close range champions. All pretty much merely have to deal with a Sivir.
I certainly do. And that is a concern, right? If we draw similarities to what Chiefs did with the Wukong Lucian Nami as a combo, if they can find the engages facilitated there by Good, if they can get this Lucian Nami online from a strong laning phase into those team fights around those objectives as well, then there's a world in which you don't really have to worry about the counterpunch that your opposition can land. But if you don't, then certainly, yeah, the tools are there. As you mentioned, the Ricochet, the Sivir, the ability just to kite from front to back and turn it around with a massive gnaw with a huge depth charge.
Yeah, it's always going to be a big thing to look towards. What can someone like a Gnaw get done into the enemy composition? Lots of mobility, lots of tools to get away from you. Sylas also looking at that Gnar ultimate, thinking it's an absolute snack to take that one away for himself. But still, I do feel like this is going to be one of those games, Skimmy, where both teams will be meeting in the middle and there will be a lot of brawling, almost akin to game one of the day, right? There's going to be a lot of aggression and a lot of map movements early between mid laners of both teams.
Well, here we go, Rusty. We're loading in for our third game of the night. A very important match for both of these teams. Both finishing week 8, 0-2, and loading into this one, hoping that the result goes slightly different this time. It's another 1-to-1 head-to-head to resolve. Order have 2 of them this week, and they'll be looking to put a bow in it to guarantee themselves an upper bracket showing, whereas for Peace, every win matters. Well, on the line, I am joined by Midlord. And Midlord, I'll ask you that question with only 4 games left and a very tough road to playoffs. How is the team handling the pressure?
Yeah, actually, we have been working on our issues like over for last it's very hard. Last week very hard, and I think the boys are really doing their best to keep a clear hand to go into the final week.
And that's fantastic to hear because we were curious about where the mental state was at. But what can you share about some of those problems? Is it just poor communication, some decision making perhaps?
Yeah, it's like the communication of our team is not that good. Actually, I think we have a lot need to improve.
Well, hopefully time is on your side, even though there is a bit of a pinch before playoffs approach. But best of luck, Midlord, in this game and the ones going forward.
Thank you.
Of course, as you heard from him there seems to be a whole modicum of things that they want to address, but communication seems to be the first and foremost thing that they want to fix. So we'll see just how much their communication comes into play in this game, if it's something that we can notice as a sign that has improved. Order, of course, no slouches to the game. Not going to be an easy opponent to face. Puma's second week back since returning. Fan vote very much Order favored as well here. It's an uphill battle to say the least for Peace. And it's been a hard ride and a hard journey for Peace fans. But you know the miracle run always exists in these do or die moments, and this is where it starts to really feel like it, because you need to stay 1 win ahead of Kanga if you want to make playoffs. Kanga play next, and they are nipping at your heels.
And no doubt Peace will be watching really those results from Kanga like an absolute hawk, praying that luck is on their side. If you're a Peace fan, certainly a roller coaster of emotions across this entire split, thinking how are we this good with export players returning back home and unable to find those advantages. Here is one though. Lisa's wrapped around, but the face check from Auto is inside the river where he's just gone. Corporal completely isolated. Puma in trouble. There's the passive, there's the hook, and there's the damage into the wall. First blood found, and Lisa claims it.
And they just didn't expect Lisa to be that far forward. Gudo's invading the blue buff. And somehow Lisa just skirts around Vision, disregards the blue that's been taken from under him, but gets a kill as a result. That's still favorable for Peace in the end. I'm sure Poppy's not going to be too upset to miss a buff, to miss a camp here and there, because now he's got the team to back him up. And that is a Lucian Nami that dies very early on.
And that's a perfect start for Peace, but such peculiar timing, right? The fact that he's wrapping around through Tribush, that Nami is pushing through that bot side river, looking towards Gudo to protect him on that one. You've traded a buff steal for a first blood as we go into a pause here. But as far as starts go, really happy for Peace.
Yeah, you can't ask for too much more for Peace, especially when there was Vision early that spotted Lisa, right? First and foremost, all things considered, the Poppy was seen doing his Raptors or near the Raptors very early. And so you know that you're able to invade the enemy jungle camps. You know, be super aggressive, take away those. And then somehow the unexpected just works. They find the kills that they're after. Game goes from in control to out of control very quickly. And your Lucian Nami that wants to have control of that bot lane in just their 2v2 now falls a little bit awry with a lot of summoners used.
Yeah, I would say the saving grace would be the fact that Puma did hang on to his flash. Both AD carries burnt their summoner heal to try and allow that player to start off, and 2 flashes from both Lisa and Guncrab to guarantee the lockdown, to guarantee the angles and the uptime to ensure that they would claim that first kill. So Puma still can afford to try and be quite aggressive, as you would imagine in this laning phase. We'll still have that insurance plan with the flash to get out of harm's way. But as it starts, bit of a pause here, and we will give you an update once we find out what has gone on, but business as usual, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you for bearing with us as well. Just getting back into the game as fast as we possibly can. Tech issues are not something that anyone wants, but welcome to OS, as the meme goes. It's not an actual OS game without an OS pause. And still, we appreciate you being around. Quick stock take as well for everyone at home. Other than the kill in this game, nothing really to speak about, right? The mid lane matchup between a Sylas and a Ryze is still going to go fairly evenly. Ryze tends to get a little bit more push priority in that matchup, but when all said and done, Kisei should be perfectly fine there. Top lane, you've seen BioPanther on the Gwen stuck under his turret the entire time versus the Gnar, but not much more beyond that. Gwen's a scaling pick, right? So the Gwen's comfortable just going even in farm. Started Doran's Shield in the matchup as well and is just happily scaling his way through.
So let's reframe it then, talking about the jungle matchup as well. The fact that First Blood was found by Lisa, but Gudo's going to get a free buff start, so a huge lead for him in terms of what he can contribute to the fight. Where would we like to see Gudo go first of all? Is it as simple as just planting him in mid, getting Kisei, who's been an MVP this season so far, ahead online as quickly as possible before Appy can look to try and roam as well?
I feel like there's a couple of options for Gudo, all things considered, right? Talking about the mid matchup, because Kisei wants to roam, because both mid laners want to roam. If you have a lead there, you have a bit more of a first move priority. But at the same time, you need to protect Puma. You don't want to allow Puma to fall behind. The saving grace for Order is that the kill went on to the jungler of Peace. It is Lisa that received that kill. It is not the Sivir in that lane. It is not the Nautilus in that lane for any kind of early advantages. They should just be able to get back towards bot lane and be comfortable 2v2ing. So that's probably the big thing here for Peace. When all said and done, they'll probably be happy with the kill, but it's not going to be game winning. And Gudo still had all of his jungle to clear back towards bot lane.
Which means that first shop should be absolutely huge for him to talk about, as still stuck in a pause, unfortunately. As I believe one of the players has disconnected, so waiting for them to get themselves back into the rift of things. But yeah, very curious to see where Gudo does go, what he can get with that first shop purchase. If it is a Sheen, for instance, that allows him then to be very keen to either protect Puma in that bot lane or to enable somebody like Kisei. But yeah, I'm just curious about this series as a whole, right? 1-1 is the scoreline. The fact that we've had very different game plans in both of their games, and this one also feels like no exception to that.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that it is 1-1 is one of those surprising factors. Order and Peace, in regards to performance, have been two of the most inconsistent teams so far, I think it's fair to say, in the LCO. We've seen strings of wins from Order, followed by strings of defeats. And Peace seem to be up and down. They can beat teams above them. They lose to every team below them. It just seems to be the way that it goes for Peace. So they've been able to get a win from Order. When they have their day, when they find their moment, they get it done. It was Tian on Shyvana last time around. you know, having massive team fights. It was BioPanther picking Olaf where it started good and then started to really fall off in target acquisition in team fights. But
Yeah.
this feels like a more neutral affair, and that's why I also, when I consider Order vs. Peace in this game from Draft, I considered it similar to game 1 of the day between PGG and Chiefs.
Sure.
Because there is a lot more early potential, early skirmishing, and early threat there that the game could snowball out of control really quickly if things go well for one
And
team.
I'd say you probably can draw a little bit of inspiration also to how they faced up against Peace all the way back in week 2 when they had a TF, Wukong, and a Jax. The fact that you can be still very aggressive as the Silas to roam towards a carry, which, sure, it's not a Jax, it's a Gwen. Same kind of characteristic. It's going to be keen to soak up those resources and become a bit of a menace. Welcome back. Appreciate you for bearing with us as we rallied ourselves through that little delay. But we're back into the mix. Game 3.
Certainly are. Ready to get back into this one. Question comes into what will the next moves be, right? Now that we've seen the first kill come across, it hasn't amounted into too substantially. What does it mean for the next stages of this game? Lisa with no flash still has the Hex Flash, so he'll be perfectly fine. Looking for some more creative angles, to be perfectly honest, is one of Poppy's hallmarks here as a jungler. Hex flashing walls that other junglers won't be able to get across. Or just being unexpected, as you're seeing right now, straight towards the Scuttle Crab, just a little bit faster. And also, very early on, clears incredibly quickly as you get up towards level 9 with points in your queue. Your jungle monster clear is insanely quick. Wukong, not as much, but still relatively short. I've also seen a couple of nerfs the old Wukong for his jungle clear because it was a bit too good.
A little bit too strong. It has paved the way for a plethora of champions being played across the board when the likes of Viego and Wukong weren't up and available. Still waiting for more of these AP variants to come into the mix as well. Where is that Diana? Surely Diana Yasuo comes out to shine, perhaps even in next patch, perhaps even for playoffs. Into a roaring crowd at DreamHack Melbourne.
And you are seeing as one ward just dies here, Order have placed every single ward that they have and will have into bottom, into the bushes in lane. They're so afraid of just being either ganked through the lane or dying from a Nautilus hook in a losing lane state. And they're going to put, as you're seeing from Puma, a lot more priority in just keeping the wave in a space where they feel safer to continue farming. Put a little bit more pressure onto Peace to get it done. That does mean, though, if you're talking about trade-offs, that Peace have much more neutral vision, right? Better river control potentially there. And the ability to move through mid as Lisa just having a look, seeing what he can get done. A couple of pings come through, they spot him. And now the information war commences.
Yep, he was looking to see if he finds himself an angle on towards Kisei, but it wasn't going to line up too well, so decides to Hex Flash away instead. But as you saw, Order will reveal him with that Scryer's Bloom and say, what's going on here in the mid lane? That first dragon on the menu, that's going to be an Ocean one at just that. I wonder if Order will even entertain the idea, given that Puma has set himself up with a freeze, which has now just crashed.
I don't know if they would want to go too hard for the Drake this early. Again, remember that we are patch 12.13, so one patch away from Drake's becoming hugely buffed. And you've got Herald up in 1 minute and a half, so I think an overcommit could be seen as a bit weird, but Peace right now just have so much priority. They just have so much control. Like we spoke about from Champions alone, Ryze is pushing in mid permanently, and Kisei is just left being second in line to the wave control. Bot lane, now that you've seen the early kill come across, and Civ has been a bit more free on the map, and like you highlight, it was a freeze being held by Puma to a degree. Just gives them space to get that one for free, so it's not a full commit, but it is absolutely free for the taking.
So he is, 4 members strong. They guarantee that they will find that first one. And Gudo has been a bit of a sneaky demon this game, stealing away the first blue, now sneaking away the second red. It's all about buff denial for this Wukong, who is working his way ever so close now to that level 6, which is where it gets exciting now for the mid lane. Realm Warp online, and that's been hijacked by Kisei.
Yeah, things start to ramp up for just a brief moment of time here. BioPanther going to try and clear away this control ward. All in setup for an anticipation for the potential Rift Herald that is up in 15 seconds. We've seen this from Order as well in terms of setup for objectives. Bio putting on a bit of a clinic with wave control for if they want to start objectives as they spawn. I don't think the Peace are too miffed by the concept of Rift Herald just yet. very happily farming down in bottom lane, very happily moving together still is Gunkrab and Violet. No supports roaming from either team thus far. So really, no emphasis placed on the Rift Herald. It could just be that we go for a gank into the buffs opposed to going for the buff and forcing fights.
Let's see what either team decides to highlight and set up as a result with those ultimates up and available. As it stands, power spikes still yet to be truly achieved, but level 6s are now starting to come across the board, just the supports lagging behind. And Gudo, having been a bit of a sneaky demon, is now going to try and turn his attention towards that first objective, forgoing the first Drake, wanting those turret plates instead, wanting to really open up the map to allow them to be ever so aggressive with what they put together.
Lisa been spotted as well, clearing the control ward. You can see Kisei now moving down towards bottom. Not so much to make a play onto Lisa, but to stop a bot lane dive. And Puma and Corporal, while they aggroed the Krugs, they actually disengaged from the Krugs for a brief moment. Bio has a crack top lane, knowing that it's isolated. I respect that, and it should still secure the Rift Herald for free here, Skimmy. Do Peace make the dive bottom on Vision? That is the question.
Would seem pretty crazy at this stage, given that Appy would have just revealed that that red buff steal was on Vision. Gonna have to back away from that one, showing a fair degree of restraint. But yeah, had a crack top side, Ghost burnt for Flash. Needed work was nearly enough to take down Nah.
Herald has been secured as well. Gudo able to reset his way down towards bot lane. We spoke about this already, but might want to put a bit of effort towards bot lane itself. Now that he is level 6 on this Wukong, it is a logical pathway for him to take. See if he can get an angle to get a Lucian Nami ahead. Still, you've got this roaming squad of mid-junglers right now. Lisa just constantly threatening, I suppose, angles, and Appy, especially now with this blue buff, permanently pushing.
Yeah.
Really making it difficult for Order to be proactive themselves. And they'd ideally be very happy to catch a throw from Peace, but not going to be seen, not going to happen. And instead, they're just going to push waves in, knowing the reset came across. Herald could be summoned, but it's unlikely. Reset's going to be gifted here. Slow game, Skinner.
Very slow game. Certainly is. A fair bit of discipline here, not allowing this game to break out of control anytime soon. And I do start to wonder, who does this favor more? We talked about Peace when they do find leads. It hasn't really worked out well for them. What did you say? 30% of the time it's gone against them. So is a comfort zone, even to call it that, is comfort zone really late game for both of these teams?
Yeah, 33% win rate when ahead at 15 minutes is very uncharacteristic of a team that you would expect to see in playoffs. But it does mean that they're capable of getting early leads. The question is, how do you transition those into a full map win? This is the first time as well, 10 minutes in, that we're really seeing Gunkrab and Lisa moving together. It is still in the bottom side red buff quadrant of the map, belonging to Order, but with the Vision placed, it really doesn't feel like it belongs to Order. And this is all just about setting up Violet to farm his little heart out. And tell me that's not just going to be the win condition of PC, you know? Like,
100%.
I think without a doubt, they're really just looking at this game state and saying, if we just consistently farm, that's so good for Violet, and if it's good for Violet, it's good for Peace.
What's good for him is good for us, and they will be hoping that the Star AD carry can run back the years.
Don't face check the Nautilus impossible challenge.
I was concerned for a second that he was going to flash across that wall and try and dive them right at that turret.
Both just see a red shadow of each other and run away. Now Order know that they could be dove, right? Look at Kisei. He's already moved his way down. If a dive were to happen, he'd be here. And up until about now, when he is in a position to actually help, they weren't going to step up to the wave. So another turret plate probably goes the way of Peace. And Kisei doing, I would say, a very nice thing for the whole map, is being a mid laner that is being selfless and trying to actually influence the map positively by protecting his bottom lane. It's not a gank, it's a protect. Walks through about 68 wards to get there, so they know he's coming, but that's important. They know he's coming, so they're not going to dive. And if they did, it would have been a mistake.
And that's what's also interesting for me, is it's just one big staunch off as they stand and say, as long as Violet keeps pushing in these waves, as long as he keeps collecting those plates, we are just happy. 12 minutes in, and this game is dead even. Gudo looking for a play topside now. Going to go for the Cyclone onto Tien, who is very much in mini form. He could just drop underneath this turret. There is the bonk, and just out of range, Gudo won't fall victim.
Just absolutely picks him apart. Finds effectively a solo kill. Did have the Silas hover to staunch him away, forces Tien away from the turret, so opens up that angle. And Herald to be summoned top lane basically just means out of nowhere Order go from fairly even game state to a extremely fed top side of the map, specifically Biopanther and Gudo.
Looks like it's going to get a second headbutt as well, which is absolutely phenomenal for making sure that this Gwen will take
Look at the gold
over the show. You said that top side will be fed. They certainly are at the top of the tables right now. And the trade-off was just simply that, right? A gank to kill Tien. Peace answer back with the second Drake.
And Peace aren't getting kills bottom, right? The Lucian and Nami aren't really falling down. There was one gank that happened at level 3. A lapse in vision, not even a mistake from Order. It was well done by Peace to circumvent themselves around the wards. Since that point, they've just been patient. They've been passive. They have been very reserved. And you can acknowledge that that's giving Violet angles. That's giving him money, yes. But look at the results for the rest of the map. Still getting money where they need to. Gudo's taken almost every buff as it spawned inside Peace's jungle.
Yeah, Lisa's certainly been put in a bit of a budget this game. He's going to be a bit of a stun bot, or perhaps even just a Keeper's Verdict bot. And he's going to be looking to try and lock down key targets and ensure that, yes, whoever gets locked inside that rune prism will fall on down in a heartbeat.
And that's probably the biggest thing here, right? Is we haven't seen a Rise productivity to the levels that we saw from Yuri and Balkan with PGG. We really have just seen a more passive version of the Rise. Going to be poised more in a side lane now. And still is going to be a bit of a powerhouse here. Ultimately, seeing the Crown of the Shattered Queen, Order don't have the best tools to proc that one easily. There's no massive amounts of poke. There's a Nami, there's a Lucian W, but most of Order's comp is about engaging, so it can pay off.
So he could be in trouble right now as Gunkrab's going to buy time with that hook on a lower cooldown. Instant flash away from any kind of shenanigans that the Poppy could have laid on down as Bio TP's in to make it a bit of a fair fight. Still down in a 3v2, but the turret stays strong and Kisly's intact.
Yeah, you got a Rift Herald up in 5 seconds, so the fact that you got a teleport is nice from Peace if they're able to translate their way up towards the top side of the map. Kisei is grounded. He's been naughty.
Just out of range down to Gunkrab as well. Whether or not he actually wanted that fight, well...
But Herald's being done, so Peace aren't going to transition their way to the Herald. They're going to try and make the play bottom, and one good flash from Kisei, and it's just going to be the turret instead.
And like as many minions as he could as well is Appy. Oh no! Quickly move the camera away! Oh, he's burnt the stopwatch to pressure Rusty.
He just wanted to have a cool pose. That's so tragic. Order wants to get on vision, but have a Herald to summon here. It's going to be the inner turret in top lane. You might see an attempt from Peace, but ultimately depends how Gudo wants to play this one. Depends how Order wants to play this one. They're instead not even going to summon it. I mean, you could have. Just a little bit afraid of where Peace are. This has been an information war, I feel like, from the first minute. More than anything else, it has been a battle of wards and a battle of reactions and just dipping your toe in for the actions. Super different, even though the comps are similar to game 1 of the day.
And would you say, or is it fair to say that Order have come out ahead given the ability that Gudo can actually be so proactive to steal away as many of these buffs as possible? Or would you say it favors Peace, the fact that they've put so much pressure and almost like a triangle formation between mid and bot to guarantee that Violet can get fed, that Appy can hard push for free? It's an interesting conundrum between the two as to who really gets ahead as a result of this one, because once again, despite Order having a fragile 1k lead, we're still in a dead even game.
I think the difficulty for Order comes down to who does the Lucian hit once it comes to team fights, because Violet is a front-to-back ADC that will be most likely just hitting the closest target. And that doesn't mean that the Lucian will always have access. But if you look at the rest of the comp, you don't really want access to them because they're dangerous.
Now goes the Carling on towards Gunkrab. The angle wasn't perfect for Pima, but he made it work. 20 seconds. Third Dragon. Mountain Drake up for grabs.
Culling gone. Not a lot of health actually lost from the side of Peace. A bit of pokes exchanged back and forth. One team has a Nami, however, to heal through that one. Herald going to be summoned and just in the face of Peace. Just right in the face. They're going to be distracted by it. Engage on.
And we go. Gudo looking for that Cyclone. A tidal wave goes across as well and knocks up absolutely everybody. Both top laners coming on in with their TPs, but Kisly's going to be here first. The turret is gone, and it might look like the team fight works in that way as well. Gudo is dead for 20. They've traded jungle for support. The fight continues. Kisly jumps in with a 2-man Gnar up against the shrubbery, and TN is dead. Lisa having to flash away. And despite Order having no jungler, it's them that go towards the Drake.
They still have more than enough of a health advantage. They make the play just more calmly, right? They'll get the turret. The Herald was a bait for a team fight. They'll get the team fight as well. Kisei doesn't just use the Gnar ultimate that he stole away. He bides his time. He waits for the chains to connect, baits summoner spells out of his opponents. And then it really just becomes easy pickings. Nicely done here by Gudo to hit the double engage. Immediately using the second part of the ultimate. Is going to take a whole lot of damage, and he was never really looking like he was going to be able to kill them, but because the teleports, the map movements, everything from Order's just a little bit faster, they're able to get into the fight and very nicely execute themselves a couple of cheeky kills and a flash out of Lisa.
And that's going to be so frustrating for Tien as well, right? He came in with the late TP, instantly flashes across the wall, straight into a Gnar slam up against himself, and he feels like, well, my own poison's been used against me. And that is never a great position to really find yourself in. I believe Keeper's Verdict actually missed as well from Lisa, so there were tools that could have been there to try and even out the books. Regardless, back we go again. And Appy looking for a second turret.
Appy has been quietly achieving in this game, it must be said, right? In regards to farm, 224 CS at 19 minutes is exceptional. Of course, the rest of the team not going to be able to keep up with him, and nor is Order going to be able to contest that amount of farm value, but that's because Appy's been assigning himself to the lanes of priority, the lanes where his team is going to be supporting him, and Lisa has been, quite namely, supporting him. And that now means that almost 2 outer turrets will drop, and you can see total gold in the game is absolutely at #1's position. The issue is that Puma has somehow snuck up with all of the pressure placed onto him still, has outperformed Violet in CS, has the kill from that last skirmish, and is well and truly still in this game. It's not like they kept the Lucian out. They pressured the Lucian for the first 10 minutes of the game, but he's still very strong.
He certainly is. With this being a new variant of what makes Lucian ever so strong, comboed with a Imperial Mandate Nami, Galeful's Rapid Fire Cannon, you just literally one-shot somebody from a million miles away. And whilst the Violet will be very strong in his own right with his 2-item spike, close range will be his enemy in answering that one back. Vision control, once again, absolutely imperative. Bubble starts onto Gunkrab, going to sidestep out the Everfrost, going to cop himself, what can only be said, a Cyclone to try and buy time. So much CC laid on this man. He tried to hit the depth charge, but died as the animation went out. And Order have found that pick, and now they've got the siege.
And again, Peace just not really a team in that play. Order see the angle, they find the angle. Gudo, once again, very nicely done from the jungler of Order with no hesitation, sees an opportunity and takes it. The rest of the team left reeling, left trying to disengage, and Gunkrab falls down for a second time. Don't know if Peace ever really intended to fight that one, but still they're made to suffer for it greatly, losing structures, losing control over the map. Comes back to what I said before, Skimmy. It just feels like right now, 20 minutes in, of course this can change, but we have a team in Order versus 5 good individuals in Peace, and that is becoming a large point of difference.
You are home to hope that if we are farming up an absolute storm, perhaps that could be the patch on what feels like a bit of a leaky boat right now here for Peace, who are so star-studded, but just haven't been really able to find their footing here in this second split. They've had moments, but streaks not long enough to really harp on about.
And the game plan is simple, right? Just keep Violet alive. You've got 4 beefy boys just to stand in front of 1 Violet, and at 3 items, and he's on his way. If that's an Infinity Edge, can carry. Can absolutely carry. Can hit the closest target and kill the backline accidentally. That is the Civitek. Is farming really nicely. Is a win condition for Peace. If they ever want to make it to playoffs, make the miracle run. They need their Lord and Savior Violet to find the angles. But they also need the team to correctly stand in front of him, correctly protect him, and enable Violet to be a carry. He can't just be a hero.
Sonny can't do it all on his own. And at this stage, Order are exposing that weakness where Peace are conceding portions of the map. That's a second turret. That's been claimed here by Order topside, really opening up a cheeky backdoor angle to work towards pressure, targeting that inhibitor. 30 seconds now, and another Drake spawns.
And that's the thing, right? Peace just can't take turrets. They just can't siege. They've been really struggling to get that done. Inner turrets are falling down left, right, and center from Peace, and they're just slowly losing control of this map. Very early teleport here to come in as well from Kisei. Rai's going to match that as well, in fact. Peace are going to stand and deliver for this Drake. Violet not 3 items. No stopwatch from Appy as well, just quietly. Both components of his own is without the stopwatch.
Tin in a rough spot as well, frantically running towards that bot wave to try and stack up that Rage Bar. He needs to be able to contest with a Mega. 2P's even entertaining the idea of this one. Appy on
Mega.
a wide flank. He's got the Summoner Spellbook, he's got the Exhaust, he's chucked out the Realm Wall, but that's a fate. He's faking that one, and they now look to try and bully them off this one. Keeper's Verdict, when's it going to come out? Lisa going to look to try and take this one away. That's 3 Drakes now in the favor of Peace. The fight breaks out, that's Goodo's clone. That's what got exhausted, that's a disaster. Order trying to disengage away, playing it slow is either side. Peace just want to disengage, but will Order let them? Kisei's found the moment. He's jumped on in with a flash slam up against the wall, but they still can't get that kill. Aqua Prison onto Appy, instant flash away, boomerang, tickling the members of Order. They're jumping in left, right, and center. Goodo's low. Gun-Crab's low, but nobody's dead just yet. And the Ricochet is bouncing, but it's not strong enough just yet. Kisei, who starts the fight, ends it by falling on down.
Mans tries to be an absolute hero for the side of Order, perhaps frustrated that they can't get a kill. Neither team would have had a kill if he didn't flash in to make that happen. Still, that was a dicey skirmish. The end result is that Peace will get the objective. They'll get themselves the kill as well. And they'll be happy with that reset back onto the map in relatively short order. Dicey fight at the very start though. TN gets cancelled, right? The fight doesn't go their way. They look for opportunities to go forward. Completely dealt with. Because they're just missing the chains. And this is the point where you see them try and just continue to chase. Gwen, no ultimate left. Wukong, no ultimate left. It is all about Kisei, but once he is pushed away, the fight's done. You can accept that your Nautilus has flashed and that's it. Another flash from Appy, that's cool. Trying desperately to get Gun-Crab. Still being disengaged and fizzled out. And then Kisei just goes back in while the rest of his team is 0 HP. Just a little bit too far.
They've gone left, he's gone right. Multiple summoners being burnt to really try and keep everybody alive there. And that could be a big breaking point in this game as to determining who can scale better, because now you've got a soul point condition to play for to give yourself the tankiness. Peace, as you've already highlighted, have 4 beefy boys. More time for them to stand up, more time for them to zone, more time for the Sivir to be an absolute weapon. Bio, looking for a cheeky kill here, but does see that Tien's about to hit Mega. Maybe the health advantage wouldn't be enough for that lethal anymore.
As a hover from Corporal, so if Tien tries to make some kind of play because he's Mega now, he would have been handled nicely. He's actually been spotted on a ward though. So let's all ask the question of why is Corporal here? Well, we're going to find out. Tien, of course, baiting Corporal to stay in the area by using his Mega Gnar in such a way.
As Bio look to try and run this one down, it would feel crazy. Just expires there
Baron
with the tidal wave.
still surely being hit as we speak. It's a slow Baron. Violet does a solid amount of damage, but Order are definitely in the area. They'll see this, they'll acknowledge it's 5k HP. Teleports are coming in.
Tin is here, the culling goes out nice and early, but Puma has no mana after this one. It's a big component of his DPS. The fight starts, Kisei using the depth charge against them, knocks them all out back. Big slam, it's been stolen by Goodo! Order have got the Baron, they've removed Lisa, and now can he win the team fight? There's a curse for Peace and Barons. I don't know what it is, Rusty, but Order are just wiping them.
And suffice to say that Peace once again choose to flip the game at the Baron at an objective that they cannot buy a win around. And yet again, Order will just stand strong. They'll see the objective. They'll let it get low. They'll bide their time. Kisei will jump into the fight. Poppy ult misses. And do you need to take this fight in the first place is definitely the question we have to ask. That was a 1200 HP smite because Kisei was about to kill Lisa. Felt pressured into the decision. Tien comes in, he's not Mega, he's already been pressured out of bottom lane. How do you see a Nami bottom and then lose the game as a trade?
That feels absolutely disastrous right now for Peace. And we talked about a big breaking point before. Well, now certainly we are seeing daylight between these two. Order, 6,000 gold up. And they're the team that were already having such a great time flourishing by sieging. 4 turrets to the name already. That's going to be 5, and I guarantee, Rusty, we're looking at Hibs.
I feel like all you need to do is just, like, Peace don't know when to take their moments, right? Because like you slow the game down, you get the Infinity Edge on Sivir, he can win a team fight. He can absolutely win a team fight. So why do you go forwards when he's 2/3 of the way there? You know, why is it that when a Nami goes bottom, you don't hit the Baron straight away and bait a teleport? You commit to the Baron and die. I feel like there has to be other options here other than all or nothing. Peace constantly losing because they're going all or nothing.
Oh, Keeper's
At least
verdict
they're finding
again,
nothing.
completely denied by that Shrouded Mist. The depth charge isn't good enough. Bio's just absolutely assassinated Gun Crab. I said it before, we'd be working towards zone inhibs, and we've just found one. Order, 5 members strong. They don't really have another angle to turn towards because mid and top is not prepped, and Tien did his best to try and split push Siege by claiming a turret of their own. But would they dare entertain knocking on the front door?
About to lose the Mega though, so Tien has to basically acknowledge that Order can walk away with their lives. They will continue to walk back at a free disengage, take a couple of camps and deny the Mountain Soul, getting themselves another objective. So far so good from Order, right? I've been talking more about the peace side of the coin here, but for what it's worth, Order, the one mistake they've made is just classic Kisei, you know, just going a little bit too far, which is just classic Kisei. Other than that, really slow-paced, methodical game of League of Legends where they're just taking structures, taking turrets, and bit by bit, tearing apart Peace. Extra effort had to go into saying bit by bit, not piece by piece.
Piece by piece, I know. We don't want those dead punches yet. But certainly is methodical League of Legends, as you highlight. So, Order have found their moments and have understood the game plan. It seems clear, right? That what Peace are working towards is giving themselves the durability, the tankiness, and the damage to try and weather the engage that Order have. If they can't get those kills with that one punch, perhaps with that tidal wave, perhaps with that cyclone, that Peace may just be able to answer back. They're stacking up these Mountain Drakes one after the other, and they'll certainly find even more success if they look to try and be Hail Mary diving on in to try and find those fights against Peace as well.
There's real estate in Oast to make a team called Chaos. When you have Peace and Order, you really are going down a philosophical rabbit hole, are you not, on like concepts.
Law and Order, Peace and Order. Got a TV series right there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll name an org SVU.
Yep, absolutely, mate. There we go, that's a freebie for you entrepreneurs out there. GoFundMe page being set up as we speak. Right, goes to culling, more like the tickling there as Violet kind of just soaks it all up. Doesn't really worry about that one whatsoever. Peace stuck inside their base. One member at all times has to attend that bot lane, dealing with those supers. That'll be Tien at the moment. The rest will be farming up an absolute storm, really trying to mitigate the amount of pressure that Order can lay out here.
Yeah, this full court press makes it very difficult for Peace to actually successfully defend the rest of their base. Sivir one-hits waves though, so the fact that Baron has dissipated means that it's basically done. There's no real chance to push forwards anymore, and that is the reality of versing Peace's composition, right? Their ADC is a hoover. You actually are not allowed to just take inhibitors and let the game play slow. You want to be able to pressure something else and stop the Sivir from freely farming. But as it stands, it's an Infinity Edge and some now, right, with a Vamp Scepter there. This is actually an okay game state for Peace, in reality. 7k down sucks, yeah. Your team probably can't 5v5, but if they come into you, your team probably can 5v5.
Certainly when Gwen is not immune anymore. There's a lot of damage that can be shed around that team, diving at you, looking for that initial pick.
Being a Gwen, super high DPS build coming out of Biopanther here. He's not messing around with any kind of off tanks, not even a Zonya's considered. He's gone straight into the Shadow Flame Void Staff. Is looking to just tear apart Peace in team fights. Lots of magic resistance purchased by Peace, to be fair. The Void Staff makes a whole lot of sense. It's the Shadow Flame second. I think the fact that the reality is, since they've changed Gwen's ultimate to be able to just use all 3 casts of the ultimate, you don't need to auto-attack as much.
Uh-oh, Guncrab's being caught out of position. Instant flash across that wall on towards Guncrab. As Gudo just blast cones himself in and says, thank you very much. That is kill number 3 for him.
I think Kisei just had his Nautilus ult cancelled by Vision, which is standard for Nautilus ult, but it's gone. Like, it just didn't, it's just gone. It's still going to be a kill, so it doesn't matter too much in the end. Flash did have to be used by Kisei though. Baron now well and truly on the cards, and unfortunately for Peace, once again, with 4 tanks in a team, Guncrab is constantly the one that's just left to die by himself. No Lisa to support, no Lisa to knock them away. Baron buff for Order.
Certainly is just that. And Peace don't really have anything on the map to trade back for at this stage. 20 seconds, and that inhib that fell on down very early on will respawn.
Violet also low-key had a bounty up until the Baron was taken. That's how much he's been farming. Shout out bounties.
Look at that Bloodthirster, and then we are well and truly on point here. The phase check. Would Kisei do it? Vision toggle. Far too experienced to fall victim to that one. He chose the right direction.
But that's also a really good point, Skimmy, because there's no real armor builders there for the side of Order. Kisei going on a bit of an expedition to see what he can find, so it's hard to
gambled
stay
right
on
both
track
times.
here. Yeah, he's won the 50-50s. But yeah, no need for a Last Whisper, LDR, or anything of the likes for Violet with too much necessity. Because when you look at the armor purchased by the side of Order, it's quite minimal.
Yeah, zone use GA.
Full AP Gwen. The main point that I wanted to make with the Gwen as well is because you don't need to auto-attack between ult casts, you can just hit them with 3 ults. So full AP build without a Nash's Tooth is much more viable now. And so that's why you're seeing more like a Shadow Flame Void Staff. Just wants to one-hit full Zoranus spec.
A lot of pen damage for sure. On the hunt being popped there by Violet.
It was a good time for Peace. It was the only time, I think, though.
Unwilling to pull the trigger on that one, and have just allowed Order just to literally walk out the front door.
No Rise ultimate used. They don't try and drop ship a Mega Gnar in. They don't force the play with any great necessity. They look for a hook. The hook misses. Peace say that's it. That's all she wrote. I feel like there's angles here that Peace just aren't quite seeing.
Another Mountain Drake. 3 back to back. Order have completely stemmed the potential of a Dragon Soul win condition here.
Yeah, and they're also looking at 4 Mountain Drakes into a Soul, so if ever there was a time to get yourself a LDR instead of a Bloodthirster.
Absolutely.
That's probably a factor.
Puma at this stage has 118 armor just passively.
Yeah,
Stopwatch.
it's insane. Yeah, so like now LDR is a necessity, right? But you're stuck, you're gated by the Vamp Scepter being there. It's going to be 1200 to finish the item into another 1450 to go for the longsword. That's how far away he is.
Now goes to Culling once again, TN in Mega, teasing, wondering if he can find himself an angle. Just wants them to all line up quite nicely. Tidal Wave goes out as well. Kisei jumps in and uses the depth charge. There's the slam and there's the fight. TN flashing. They both go golden. One's going to come out of stasis and just fall on down. And Gura revives from the afterlife, utilizing that GA perfectly.
Baron buff still here. Violet's still alive, though. This whole game plan comes down to can you kill Violet? If no, he's probably going to clear these waves out. And so Order, with Baron buff in hand, they'll take a second inhibitor. But they have to disengage. We get one more fight. Peace buy themselves a second chance in this game. Sivir retains the flash. There's a world they win this, Skibby. I would say the world is slim. Order still with so much control and being extremely calm. But the Violet effect is starting to really get there. The Sivir win condition is starting to get there.
It's well on point with the memes that we say a 500
Yeah.
CS Sivir can just win the game. We're close to 400. 4 items complete. LDR, the absolute luxury. Will the game go long enough for that purchase to even be viable? As Order seem to be dancing, it's very delicate balance, right? They can be so far ahead, nearly 10k gold.
Yeah.
They just can't close.
Exactly, and it's Baron very much reliant. And also the fact that Drakes have gone the distance means that it's really hard to force fights at the Elder and to force Peace out of their base, as they've been very comfortably farming throughout most of this. That's what's afforded to you by taking Drakes early, right? That's really good objective control that nets you time. And time is the ultimate killer for Order here. Still so strong, you know, still getting their items, still AP champions. If you look at the damage mix of their team, they have scaling damage everywhere. It's just execution that gets harder as time passes, but Gwen loves this. Deathcap done for Gwen, you'll just see a 1v9 angle.
The cleave damage will be astronomical for sure. Jump straight into the
For
Sivir.
sure.
One shot, good night.
Not the only one with cleave damage though. Teleport.
Oh, here we go.
Mega Gnar as well.
He's pulling the trigger. Gunkrab flash on forward with the depth charge. Onto Puma. Assassinate his AD carry. Wallop into hook into follow-up damage. as they look to try and get these kills. Corporal goes gold and flashes away instantly. Are they
Fires
winning
in.
this fight? I'm not too sure. As Tien has to bop and block and jump away. Goodo is still topped up and healthy. Corporal is peeling from afar, chucking out heals. Left, right, and center. Guncrab's gonna die. Least are lucky to be alive. They're limping, they're broken, they're bruised, and they're just
Sivas
battered.
just killed someone though.
The Ricochet is ping-ponging around.
Puma's one hit.
And it snuck a few kills, but Puma's found 2. And surely now a chance for Violet to flash on forward, hit the boomer, and hit the biggest base defense of his career.
Violet no flash, but 1W honestly wipes all of Order. They need to be so careful. Even W through minion waves if they disrespect. They're going to be dissuaded. They'll take the 3rd inhibitor. Look at the base as well, though. Ryze is stuck on base defense. Violet sees the angle. But it does seem like, again, Order get what they're after. It's still so dicey. It is still so close. In such a losing situation, the fact that Peace are keeping it this close is really just credit to how strong Sivir is as a champion. This is what we wanted to see from Peace 5 minutes ago. It's the full force combo. They lock Puma and Corporal down, stopwatches get used. Goodo tries his absolute heart out with a massive ult combo, and Bio comes in here and really is one step away from just one-hitting Violet, but the flash was used, keeps him alive. And as the fight continues, Violet just needs to attack something because he has the Bloodthirster. With a W, you can see it bounces, it kills Corporal, but it's close to many more.
It may just come down to this one final team fight. Respawn times at this point are just so high. The hook is shy, and Death Gungrab is dead. Pops a locker, but he didn't really have a chance. They're on the hunt. Violet looking for the kills, but he's forced to disengage away, Rusty. It's not looking good. He's just been absolutely shut down by a 4-item Gwen. And Order have tried so many times to try and assault this base and try and win this game. And finally, they may just put the nail on the coffin. Appy is going to work his absolute hardest, but it does not matter. They TP back in, and they will close this one out, claiming their head-to-head up against Peace.
It's crazy how close some of those fights were, but when you really take a step back and consider the state of the game, there was no worlds where Order were losing. They never really looked like it was in doubt. They did still feel like they were the better team from the first minute to the very last. And try as Peace might to scale into the game, to have that one team fight, to have the Violet effect in full force, there was still a full 5-stack of Order that were just too good on the day.
Certainly were from start to finish. They were the ones in the driving seat and never really looked like they were going to slow down their Mac.
No, they didn't. And it was a scary affair towards the end. I actually was screaming out Penta angle for Violet there. I thought he was going to go for it. He was chasing. He was making it happen. Unfortunately, he already used his ult just to survive. But once he cleared that wave under the towers, he had like full health instantly. But that's like power of the Bloodthirster, right? And crazy, crazy game. There was just so much going on after the 25-minute mark. But before that, like what, 5 kills? It was just a real slow-paced affair for the first 20 minutes. First, 2 kills came in that first invade, and then after that, it was just like, you know, macro. Just macro. No micro, just macro. Yeah.
Yep. And look, I was saying to Mac that Order, I believe, has a win con where they want to look for fights pre-30. Because if we look at Peace's comp, they have Ryze and Sivir, where in the late game, these two champions are basically scaling machines. You can't have a siege into them because they have such good wave clear. But that Baron flip, when they had 3 dragons, was just devastating. Because I believe that it was a smite that missed by 200 health, where Peace just keeps taking these unnecessary Baron fights, where if you were to play more, let's say, the early game didn't do much. You can just play very, very safe and wait for the 4th dragon instead of flipping this Baron. Because this Baron made the game so much harder and just escalated the entire tempo, where they don't want that because they do want to just keep scaling, where we did have Sivir, the most broken champion in the game right now, just wave clearing all these lanes where they weren't able to push into the game. But oh my god, I'm just sorry, I'm molding because this was actually a Peace win until they did that Baron. So it's very devastating to watch, but I feel like Guncrab is missing that like factor because he does seems a little bit lost on this Nautilus. He is dying first in every single team fight, and I don't see him going for those really nice hooks on those carries like I would say compared to Aladoric in those games.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah.
Well, we were having that chat before, right? We've heard that Peace are having communication issues. Maybe there's just points where they're Like, maybe Gunkrab just doesn't have the voice that he needs to
I
be.
just don't think he has Lisa. Like, the difference, it feels like, is Lisa's hovering Appy. They're both on the opposite side of the map. Gunkrab dies trying to get wards by himself. And, like, maybe he is going too far.
Yeah.
And that's a different conversation. But the fact that he's by himself obviously increases the degree of difficulty required to get those wards down. It becomes a very hard time to be a support when you're behind and you're face-checking alone.
Well, I've got the perfect man to ask about all of these things and more. We got Goodo on the line. Goodo, if you had Corporal trying to get some vision, would you hover him just to make sure he doesn't die getting those wards down?
No, make sure. Yeah, sure, for sure. He's playing Nami, like, why not? Yeah.
True.
Gotta protect the little kitten, which is Corporal. But let's talk about that game because you guys had a 35-minute game. It was a very long brawl. So tell me about what you guys were feeling when it hit the 30-minute mark and when you guys were just getting the Baron and could have ended, but Sivir was just stopping you guys from doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of expected when the Sivir just coming out from the drop. I think even the spectator needs to know, like, if there's like Sivir, you have to prepare like 30 minutes, 40 minutes game. So it is kind of like cancel, but it is what it is.
So it's just a real slow mid game as well. Is that what you guys wanted? Because I feel like it's kind of what Peace wanted, right? Is to reach that late game. Were you guys sort of happy to allow that for the time being? And what was the game plan going through the early and mid stages of the game?
Obviously, like when we just trade the first drag and second drag for the Herald, and we just got double tower, and when they have Sivir, I think if we don't get Baron faster, I think like game will be longer. So I didn't mind like game has been longer. So like just win is a win. So we just be patient and just take the win.
A win is definitely a win, and I believe that Dials grabbed a win earlier today, so you guys are still currently tied for second. So as we head into nearing the playoffs, which team do you think is going to be the main contender for your second spot as we're looking so far?
It'll be fun if I versus Dials on win a bracket on playoff. But I think PGG is just gonna make it. So I think just PGG.
Oh, there you go. And on that note, Goodo, we'll let you go. Enjoy the win and get ready for tomorrow's game.
Thank you.
Always good to chat with the big man in the jungle. We've had a lot of junglers on today, I feel.
Had a lot of Wukongs today.
Oh, true.
I mean, that's normal.
It is normal.
No, it's not normal. I hate Wukong.
It
It's
kind of
broken.
fizzled out for a little while, and then well, I guess what, first two games, it didn't work as expected. First game, it did. No, actually, Arthur played it, sorry. That worked very well. Either way, Dare MVP discussion for this game that just went down. Who was the most valuable player?
Good question.
It's a rough game.
I want to say, but like, I know that it's going to be clouded by the one bad play, but like, I actually want to give it to Kisei.
Yeah.
The reason being is that he was playing also like a second jungler in the game and protecting his bottom lane, which I think is a really important thing that like stops the game from going poorly, which is all order needed on that side of the map. But like, there wasn't exactly like a star player or like big moment like that's the MVP. So like maybe Goodo because he team fought well.
Yeah.
You know, like Goodo was flashy.
When Goodo jumped in at the end when Peace tried to make that play, I think he did save two of the players that were getting pounced upon. So that could also be like real good sort of counter gank angle. By the way, hey Skimmy, you get to decide today.
Oh,
good.
Do you see my smile? Because I was like, I'm just going to throw out another name just to make it really difficult for everybody.
Well, who was
Bio
the Dare
Daddy.
MVP?
Big Bio Daddy.
Bio Daddy. Oh, there you go. Easy peasy.
It was
The
biased over
Dare
here.
MVP
Give it to the man.
for
Plays
today
ARAMs with him.
was Bio
Wants to give him
Panther.
MVP, huh?
Give it to the
How
man.
much did he pay you, huh? How much
He did get a Panther on Kalista and now ARAM.
bop,
I mean,
beep
that's
bop,
reason
04.
enough.
Different game. Completely different
Full
game.
leaking?
But look,
I'm leaking his phone number right now. Bio, watch back the
He
VOD,
was
mate.
leaking it constantly in comms.
man did work. He did a lot of work there in
Full
the top
glass
lane.
cannon Gwen.
Yep.
That is, yeah, spicy.
Taking
very end,
1v1s
just like one shot Kyler.
constantly. Man was just chunking, and I'm sure he had huge damage there as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more game to get to and a break to get through before we jump on into that one. So do not go too far. Just after this is the final game of the day. It's Kanga up against Gravitas.
In is here, the culling goes out, nice and early, but Puma has no mana after this one. It's a big component of his DPS. The fight starts, Kisei using the depth charge against them, knocks them all out, back, big slam. It's been stolen by Goodo. Order have got the Baron, they've removed Lisa, and now can he win the team fight? It's a curse for Peace and Barons. I don't know what it is, Rusty, but Order are just wiped.
Hey, look, menu bomb.
Gimme, what's on your arm there? No, that's not what I wanted. Anyway,